Hi everyone, we know it's only been a week, but we are back. We've got some stuff to talk about, so let's get straight in to the Top Drive show. Before we go into any of your questions, we do have some drilling, and also we need to make a little bit of an apology because there were some server issues recently. Tim and John, would you like to discuss those while projecting quite sharply into your microphone?
That drilling was not going on for like the last hour.
We haven't had any for ages, and they know when we're on, and they do it to annoy us.
Anyway, well, let's just go back. Last year, you might remember, there was no drilling, and there was a spate of outages towards the end of big finals, and servers are supposed to automatically scale up when there's a lot of people playing, and for some reason it doesn't go fast enough. So we put in a rule that just said, a few minutes before the end, when we know it's going to get crazy, scale the servers up massively, just to be ready. That seemed to solve it for a long time. And then just recently, it's like, that's not enough anymore. I spoke to a server engineer, and they said some things I don't entirely understand, but there's some other bit of it that got overloaded, so now we're going to scale that up as well. I don't know how that works exactly. I don't know why it wasn't a problem before and it is now. But that's the plan. Scale that up, and maybe we'll be ready for everybody.
Yes, I know it is sort of this kind of mysterious lists that we talk about and priorities and things like that. But I know this is the very top of everything now.
Yeah.
In terms of addressing, because it's just it's the time it's a time in the game, one of the most important times in the game, and
that's right. And I share this on the forum, by the way, though, while this is still happening, if it's still happening, my tip as a player, right, what I do now is, when the final's ending, right, and you're close to making it into tier 1, or maybe you're fighting for tier 2, and what you're trying to do is like get as many points as you can just when it ends, and then you're there, right? And I mean, I do that a lot, and I often come 9th, and the prize card goes to 8th and above. It's very difficult to get that right, and so more recently I'm like, there's been some server issues. So what I do is I really, really push to have maximum points at like 5 minutes to the end. And then got some tickets at the ready if I need to fight it out some more. But if the servers go down, I'm like, hey man, I'm good. And so you might want to try that as a precaution. That's what I'm doing. I think it might actually just be a better strategy because you get out of the range of all the people who are then fighting each other for the border. It might actually just be the right way to do it.
Sounds dangerous. I don't know.
It does sound dangerous.
I don't condone this behaviour, but I won't stop you.
Yeah.
Actually reminds me, of a very slight tangent, but that we were at Brands Hatch for a track day, a few of us last week.
Yes, we were. And you might be able to see some posts related to it if you check our social channels.
And they had a lot of late joiners?
No, but they had this moment. It was a beautiful sunny day. There was about 10 minutes of the session to go, and when it finishes because of noise regulations. And lots of people were out in the track because everybody wants to. And I was in the pits, and I was like, I want to get out on track. And I think there'd just been a red flag. Somebody had knocked a cone into the track with about 5 minutes to go.
If that was you, very irresponsible.
Yeah. And so everybody who was out decided that it was close enough to 8 o'clock that they would just come in and finish. That was it. But I just happened to be sat at the end of the track pit lane with one other car, and they just turned the red lights off for the last 5 minutes. So we had 5 minutes of Brands Hatch, just 2 cars on the track
empty,
who ended up on different bits of it, and It was like a private racetrack.
Oh, I see.
And it was lovely. So it doesn't actually link up to what you're saying. It's kind of the opposite. But I just thought.
But it's a good story.
Tell everyone my anecdote.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you win?
I felt like I won because I got the checkered flag for the end of the session, and there was nobody in front of me, and it was just like, I'm going to take that as a victory.
Yeah.
All right.
Well played.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the meat of the episode, which is the questions. A couple of notes ahead of time. We have had several questions that are dupes from previous episodes that have gotten a lot of upvotes. So sorry if you're those people. I'm afraid that question's already been asked. The big one that we've been getting a lot recently is, for goodness sake, stop asking about training or sandbox modes and believing it's an original idea you just had. There are dozens of that comment over many videos. Please stop.
Yeah, it seems like it will be fun, but actually we don't think it will be the best for the game. See previous episodes.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, now we're going to get into some other questions, and we've got like some proper T's and C's that are down in the description right now. We're actually being a bit cheeky because we're supposed to wait 2 weeks. What we're going to do is we're going to do this episode. We're going to give away 5 carbon fibre packs, and we're also going to carry over some more questions from the previous episode when we film the next episode from now, just so that we've given you the correct 2 weeks to get those questions in. So the one of the most liked questions today, getting a carbon fibre pack, comes from Chaos Screw, who asks, the trophy system is broken at the moment. I propose that the ranges should be 0 to 4,000, 4,001 to 8,000, 8,001 to 12,000, and so on, so that you only meet people who are within 4,000 trophies of you.
Yeah, it sounds intuitive, right? It does, but if you look at the distribution of players through the game and how many trophies they have, it sort of goes like this, and then there's just this bit where there's just not that many people who have more than 6,000, and a very small number have more than 10,000, a very, very small number more than 20,000. It sort of rapidly diminishes off. So basically, if you've got, I don't know, 10,000, you're already in the top like few percent of all players in the game. So if we divided you out, I mean, if we made a cut off at 12,000, the guy with 12,001 trophies, he's doomed. It's him versus 30,000, 80,000, all those crazy guys forever. At least it's a little bit wider this way. So I've been watching the overall progression as well of trophy distribution, because it's like, there could come a time where it's like wide enough that maybe we could divide it up again. But it's not yet. So instead we do the thing where the top cutoff moves around a little bit. In different events. Sometimes it'll be open, like finals events. Sometimes it'll be 6,000 up, sometimes 3,000 up, sometimes 8,000 and up, depending on where you are. So we don't have a situation where one set of players is always at the bottom of, whatever the range is of the time. That's something we're actively monitoring, but that's how it has to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you, Chaos Screw. You are getting a carbon fibre pack. Also getting one is Vincent Top Drives, who asks, who chose the bots loadouts, and why those cars?
Why?
That is a good. I mean, just in the general events.
Yeah, this is pretty much like ancient history, isn't it? Like those loadouts have existed forever.
Yes, they were originally. So for a while, bots used to had that whole problem where bots appeared in the leaderboard and could actually win prizes, which was crazy. In the early days of Top Drives. Setting up events actually required selecting bots, each bot car individually, and the idea was to try and actually make them a sort of a kind of easy-ish opponent, but actually but actually we quickly got to a point when they got dropped from the leaderboards, which obviously was just made complete sense. I don't know that I haven't looked into the numbers. But obviously the idea is that bots, like, very quickly aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The very first people in have to have somebody.
Yeah, and they kind of get out of the way. So actually, there's just a giant big button that picked them randomly once, and in events we've because a lot of the events they kind of start from templates.
Yeah.
Actually, those bots carry on. That is obviously different to club mode and club events, where the bots in that are selected with a bit more.
Are they? Isn't it?
I mean, as in I think they're generated on the fly more.
Yeah.
Rather than just kind of copied.
I think it's always these, isn't it?
Just always identically.
I think
maybe.
I think so. I don't know. I've got to check that again.
But
so we'd have to check. But I know in general events, it was I don't know when, it was probably about a year and a half ago. Somebody pressed a button, generated some opponents.
Random, not very good cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
It was something that we had during playtesting as well, because we just needed to populate the leaderboards, right?
Yes.
Because if you're sitting there just by yourself trying to test, you need someone to beat or lose against and all that stuff.
Having said that feels like a slightly boring answer. I feel like it should have been all of our first cars or something.
Oh, that would have been really nice.
We should do that.
I mean, maybe we can change them.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Vincent. You've got a carbon fibre pack. The next question comes from Adam Yugasek, who asks, since the prize boards are giving less gold now, can we get an increase of gold earned from watching ads? Right now we get 17 gold every 6 hours. Could we bump it up a little bit, maybe to 25, so that every ad you watch is worth 5 gold?
Gold balancing and ads, right. What primarily the gold is coming out of club events now and things like that. So that gold is still there. In fact, there's people getting more gold on average now because we brought the daily back and that still has some gold in it. But yeah, we were talking the other day about like, could there be more out of ads, or could you just do that more? Because there's other games where you watch a lot more ads than this, and it's like, we could continue to give that value. It's about 350 gold for a whole week of watching ads, I think. That could be a bit more. I'll talk to our ad manager about it.
Yeah.
See what he thinks. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So the next question from Leonardo Suarez, who asks, could we get an endurance or ladder challenge, an event where we have infinite rounds, each round a little harder than the last, with better prizes the more you climb in the challenge, and also some sort of Hall of Fame, so we can see the best players of that challenge.
Right.
So basically, it's an endless runner mode for top
So I guess
drives.
you don't have tickets. You just see how far you go in a time limit,
or just how far you go until you lose.
like forever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, actually, that would be interesting. I mean, that adds a layer of tension to it if it's how far you can go until you lose.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
see.
like bringing in the best cards. It's a nice idea.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean it's in terms of kind of new modes. I mean, that's something it's sort of traditionally for us, the way Top Drives is structured. Introducing a new mode of play, it can be quite complicated. And there's obviously all the kind of the screens and the presentation of that mode. But it's I think we should that feels like a genuine idea that could go on the new mode list.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, the next question comes from Adshin Emrith, who asks, simple question, is the next what is the next update going to be about? Is it Italian Renaissance? So I don't know, but if you turn out to be right, we'll spot you for some kind of pack, I guess. Good luck.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to more questions. Redline Top Drives asked from last episode, did John not have enough MRA to make it this week? Yeah, that's actually what happened. He couldn't get up to speed, and so he just didn't arrive. So thank you, Redline. You can have a pack, carbon fiber pack. Well done. Now, last episode we asked for people to bring in suggestions for what Top Drives 2 would be like, since we had a question about, like, have we ever considered doing one? So both of these questions are going to pick up a carbon fiber pack for their suggestions. Mr. Scary Cat suggests modelled cars. Makes sense. Cars have special perks, an in-depth upgrade system. PvP multiplayer, which I mean, like, I guess that means like direct somehow. I don't really know.
Real time? Or?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Create your own crew battles, races where you use 2 cars at once.
That I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's that whole kind of almost like knowing that kind of almost or sort of actually maybe the way around. I was thinking it was like picking 1 car for 2 challenges. That I quite like. So it's you almost have to. Are you going to balance it, or are you going to kind of ace one of the challenges and sacrifice the other one?
Right.
You could do something similar with 2 cars for one. One
Allow
challenge,
all
so.
rounders to shine
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah,
more
yeah.
than
Yeah.
they do now.
Then also they're saying a better looking map, although the current one is good, and some kind of profile to edit. So those are all really good suggestions.
Those are all very good suggestions.
That would be a magical new game, I think.
Yeah.
So well done, you get a carbon fiber pack, and also getting one for their suggestions is Rio Fox 630, who says, I could picture Top Drives 2 having a more close-up 3D animations for the cars, so those 2 comments have that in common. The cars racing together with unique models for each car, again, that's...
Yep.
So it sounds like that's what everybody wants.
Interesting.
Some sort of save selection system, so players who want to start again can, but they could also keep their old save from Top Drives 1. Not a bad idea. As far as new content goes, I'd like to see month-long challenges with the prize car as the final reward, and something strictly single player, but with considerable challenge. So yeah, I think both of those suggestions combined, that makes a rather decent looking game.
There's some great things there.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks to both of you. You've both got some carbon fiber packs, and that is it for the questions this week. We are going to dip back into the previous episode's comments for next time, so that we give you more time to get the questions in. But other than that, that's it for this week for the questions, and now on to other things. The in-game news for this week is a juicy prize car. So, John, would you like to give us some info about what players could be fighting over this weekend?
Yeah. So this weekend, the battle is going to be over a 2016 Cadillac CTS V.
Well, we're ahead of things now, so it's this weekend for the quals, and then it will be the
Yes, yeah,
prize
yeah.
car.
So
Now we're finally getting back at the top of the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yes, just start the journey for that car. And there's obviously it's kind of a long line of sort of American performance cars of this kind of ilk. I think that the one stat for me is that I mean basically we're talking about a 200-mile-an-hour saloon car. Like that's just that, you know, it wasn't that long ago that was just a sort of a thing of myth, really.
Yeah.
So just incredibly powerful. I mean, 640 brake horsepower, 630 pounds of torque. It's you know, so it's going to have some nice MRA. It's going to be there. I think the thing that's interesting about this car is I mean, we've talked before, but I mean we've done, you know, certain prize cars are kind of like specialists or have a couple of stats that really stand out. I think this one, it's what's exciting is just the completeness of it. So it's fast off the line. It's got big, I don't know, I was going to use a strange analogy of big lungs and long legs or something like that. So, you know, kind of mid-range acceleration is pretty epic. It's got that top speed. It's got solid handling. It's just a great all-rounder. And I think one of the key things is medium ride height, which actually, I was going to run a quick challenge here. You know, there's more challenges going into top drives that feature those
Speed bumps.
There's nasty little speed bumps.
Yeah.
And basically the CTSV is, I think we can safely say, on anything that's got speed bumps, it is the, you know, in general, it's the fastest American car there is.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're still like the Audi S8 Plus is like pretty hard to beat, but in the American.
Yep.
Sort of
So I mean,
cars.
even here, you know, if I look at it against the ATSV in Santa Monica around the streets, and it just it's a, you know, it's a fairly comprehensive win. Both of them take the speed bumps in the same way, but it's just that extra acceleration. It's fractionally down on the kind of the handling, but it's got more performance.
Yeah.
So I think if you're looking to add an all-rounder American car to your collection, this is basically top of the tree, really, isn't it?
And the other one I was interested to look at was the Mustang Boss 302, because that has been my nemesis on many a city streets set. Really want to get one of those because it's up there in terms of having performance tyres and being medium ground clearance. It's sort of ideal for the city streets. And I just checked it out on some of the standard city streets tracks, and as always, the Boss 302 being an epic means it's easier to upgrade. So the question is really, how hard is it for the Cadillac CTS-V to beat a maxed Mustang Boss 302? And the answer is, do have to put 2 fuses into it, but then you can beat it. Then. So basically, I'm either gonna get this and fuse it, or one day get myself a Boss 302. That's my plan.
Yeah,
there you go.
So that is the car, and it's a nice photo. It's just it's a mean-looking car.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Quite tasty then.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that we need to bring up this time around? No?
Sure.
Okay.
That was it.
All right. Well, I think we're all good then. So once again, thank you very much for all of your questions. I forgot to go over the rules, but you might know them by now, which is go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section of this video. And we will pick them up next time. If you see a question someone else has left you like the look of, give it a like, because we look at the most liked comments first. And we'll be back in the near future with more news and more questions. Thank you very much for Top Drives.
Yes, thanks.
What the hell does that mean? Thank you very much for playing Top Drives. This has been the Top Drive Show.